नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयो मुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविद्याभूतले प्रभुपादाय प्रिय श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामी सुभक्तराधारास बिहारी हम भक्ति नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविद्याभूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं। हरे कृष्ण। All right, so the exciting part is coming now. Everything is exciting for me. This is the descent of river Ganga. Yeah, we all love Ganga, right? So, see this. You know why? Because then it becomes real for me, right? Otherwise, the book is like fairy tale. I remember at some point when reading Bhagavatam, I became like mad. I must see Mount Kailash, right? I must say this because we've read so much. Is it just fairy tale? So now we know about these. And because I can't go on Mount Kailash, therefore I go on YouTube. Right? Lucky? Lucky, right? I've been on so many trips on YouTube. Right? And they're showing very close quarters. Right? So that's how now Ganga also, of course, Ganga Devi's mercy that I could have darshan of Ganga. You know? But Yamuna also. So now, see, also, like, you become curious, where do you live? Like, when you fly in the airplane, you want to look down and see what it is, how it looks like. And believe me, it's so dirty, so ugly when you go and you fly, right? So black. This Kali Yuga means Kala, right? When you look down, it's so dirty and ugly, it's all black. I don't know when they will clean up this whole thing, but anyway. So this is actually not what Krishna gave us. This material world is very beautiful, as beautiful as the spiritual world. But in Kali Yuga, we made everything become dirty. Everything has become slums, right? So, okay, now, since we are asking again and again the question, so let's go back to our chapter 16, all right? Yeah, because we don't catch at one time what we are saying. Like, when 1 minute we read about the mango trees. Remember the mango trees? Which one was it? Mango? Which verse is it?
Mango trees are 19.
19 mangoes.
Mangoes, looking at 16.
16? Oh, 16. Oh, yeah. So mangoes as big, okay, then they fall. And then what happened? When all those solid fruits fall from such a height, they break, and the sweet, fragrant juice within them flows out and becomes increasingly more fragrant as it mixes with other scents. Mangoes have such a fragrance, right? You keep in the room and you come in. My God, you know there's mango. That juice cascades from the mountain in waterfalls and becomes a river called Arunoda, which flows pleasantly through the eastern side of Ilavrita. The pious wives of the Yakshas act as personal maidservant to assist Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva. Because they drink the water of the river Arunoda, meaning their amras, right? This is what they're having. Their bodies become fragrant, and as the air carries away that fragrance, it perfumes the entire atmosphere for 80 miles around. All right. So I just happened to come across, one lady, one doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, she's speaking about the diet. And so she said, have if you have, so many days you have and then, milk, you will become, yeah.
Yakshas.
Yeah, I said your skin become very fresh. This is what is said here exactly now. How will you know this? Remember I said the arm is coming from somewhere, right? Where is it coming? From this, from top of this Ilavrita, and either side there are those, mountains. Then there is one tree, and the tree is dropping the fruits. This is going into a river. So actually, how your mango trees are getting is from river Arunoda. Similarly, jambu, similarly milk, similarly honey. All right. So it's coming from somewhere. And finally, where is it landing? You read about that. Now, all these goodies, when it comes to Bharat Varsh, where does it land up? How do you harness it? It lands up in the earth. Remember, Prabhupada said, everything lands up in the earth. Therefore, if you will do agriculture, you will get the goodies of all these from Ilavrita. You'll get all their goodies. So Prabhupada said, why are you making factories? If you will do agriculture, you will get all the goodies of this world, right? But why we don't get? Again, there is a price to pay. What is that price? We read about this. You have to do yagya anad bhavanti bhutani parajanyat anasambhavaha yagyad bhavati parajanyo yagya karma samudbhavaha. This is text 24. Right? So Prabhupada says, but you will not get any of these goodies unless you do sacrifice. If you don't do sacrifice, you'll get nothing. Right? So what do? We go and work in factories. Right? Instead of doing sacrifices, where's the time to do this yagya? To chant 16 rounds itself, we find it difficult. Right? So, yeah, so they have no fatigue, no wrinkles, no perspiration. They are not afflicted by old age, disease, and untimely death. They do not suffer from chilly cold or scorching heat, nor do their bodies lose their luster. They all live very happily without anxieties until death. Anyway, you have to die. So then we read about all those mountains. So again, I heard this one person, he's explaining. Remember, I keep on saying how they are making like all those holy places which are uphill. They are exploiting, and therefore it's creating a fault, and this earthquake, breakdown of these mountains, right? Why is it happening? Remember, I said tourism. They are making each and every place of pilgrimage tourism. They haven't left the Himalayas also, naturally. So he's saying, after all, this is a geographical, physical entity, even though, and here we are reading, it is material. We are describing the material world here. So Himalayas or Ganga or whatever, Vrindavan, all the holy places, they have two aspects. They are within the material world, and they undergo, whatever, how, if we mistreat them. So he's saying, you are building a highway on the Himalayas, right? What do you expect? It's not meant. So therefore, it's causing so much damage. And therefore, as we already know, Lord Shiva pushed you back. You try to climb Mount Kailash, he just pushed you back. So what happened? So I just saw one short video. He said that there are storms. Right? There are storms. Or for some reason you are going, you go back. You are going forward, you are going back. Because there is magnetic force that push you out. So therefore there has to be Sukriti. There has to be Sukriti. If there is no Sukriti, you can't go near Lord Shiva's abode. So now they thought they have conquered, Himalayas, right? So how they conquered, again, the tourism came up there. So therefore they revolts. You can't do. Like, again, see what's happening in Vrindavan, all this. One devotee, he lives there. He's saying that a house in Vrindavan is as much as in Bombay. So do you think this will last? Right? Someday or the other, Braj will give back. Actually, it's becoming more and more desert. That's why here we read cold and chilly cold and scorching heat. That's why when we exploit, so they make sure that you don't come. Yeah, they make sure you don't come. Right? Anyway, this is all very, uh, what can I say? Protect themselves. The Holy Dham protect themselves. You should have the eligibility for all this. So we read about so many mountains. So you are asking question of those mountains, right? So let's go back. All right, here, text 27. On the eastern side of Sumeru mountain are two mountains named Jhatara and Devakut, which extend to the north and south for 18,000 yojanas. Similarly, on the western side of Sumeru, remember where's Sumeru? Where's center? Yeah. And what's the shape? Yeah, it's a cone. It's an upside down. It is upside down cone. Similarly, on the western side of Sumeru are two mountains named Pavan and Pariyatra, so this is a description of Jambudvip, meaning the middle dvip. All right. So there is Mount Sumeru. Now surrounding, so this is in Jambudvip. Surrounding there are so many mountains. So on the east side and the west side, and they extend from north to south, meaning from here to here to here, right? North to south on either side. On the southern side of Sumeru are two mountains named Kailash and Karavir. I get very excited, right? Kailash, meaning because that's like now it will come to Bharatvarsh. Why? It says Kailash is in south, and I said it's coming Bharatvarsh. Why? It says on the southern side are two mountains. One is Kailash and the other one is Karavir. Yeah, so I said Bharatvarsh. So why am I saying Bharatvarsh? I'm just doing, like tests in geography now. Why did I say? Is it Bharatvarsh? Why? Because Bharatvarsh is in the south. South, yes.
Okay, but Sumer is also in the south. Kailash is also in the south.
It says Kailash is in south, and I said therefore it is in Bharatvarsh, right? South, all right. Yes, but it is south of Ilavrita.
But this Kailash is not exactly in the Bharatvarsh, but
Yeah, but it is visible in Bharatvarsh because it's south. All right. Again, see, we haven't measured the extent of any mountains. Prabhupada spoke about this in one purport. He said nobody has measured the extent of any of the mountains. Right? He spoke of some Mexican, he was flying over, he saw so many mountains. He said he wondered whether anybody has actually measured the height. Why he's saying this? Because people doubt, right? They doubt, oh, mountains, this must be fiction. So Prabhupada is saying, your own mountain, is it, have you measured? Have you actually got the proper measurement? But we can rely on the measurement of Shukdev Goswami. See what he said.
so Mataji, if the Kailash is the same, which is coming in Bharatvarsh, then it should also be present in other Varshas also.
Most probably. I haven't read, but I just took Bharatvarsh just to check our geography. Right? Where's Bharatvarsh? Right? Amrita didn't come, her book is with her. Right? So quick. Okay. What is in north? Uttar. Yeah. What is west? What is west? What is east? What is west? All right, check everybody.
Pavan and Pariyate and
Hmm?
Pavan and
No, I'm speaking of the Varsh.
Guru Varsh is not.
Uttarkand, Uttar Kuru is north,
In
Ketumala and
left, then
Bhadrashva.
Bharashwa is east.
and Bharat
But in between,
Harivarsh, Kimpurush.
okay, Harivarsh, Kimpurush. So Bharatvarsh, Kimpurush and Harivarsh. All right? And then in north, North.
Hiranyaya, Ramyaka,
Okay.
Ketumala.
all right. No, Hiranmay, then Ramyak, and then Uttarkand. Then on the east side is Ketumala, on the left side is Ketumala, on the right side is Bhadrashwa. All right? These are the 9 Varsha. What is a Varsha? Land. All right? Earth. What is Dvip?
Island.
What type of island?
Air.
Yeah. Yes. Air island, yes. Air island. Prabhupada says air island. So when the Vedic, in cosmology, so they may say ocean, this is water, but when they say dvip, it's also referring to air. Yeah. That's why we get all confused, right?
Cloud के अंदर ऐसा है.
So, but then the various ocean, sugarcane ocean, they are
This is different. This is ocean, right? This is the ocean. When it specifically mentioned the ocean, right? And now these dvip, actually they're floating in air. All right? They have, so those different dvips, they're surrounded by oceans, but everything is floating in the air, just like our own planet is floating with all the ocean, everything's floating in air, right? Wow, what a creation, huh?
And we are hanging.
We are hanging.
इधर नहीं हम लोग बाहर हैं.
We are here.
And
We are here.
I remember you were saying the universe, the earth is moving very fast, and we are outside, but still we are
Not falling off.
It's moving at a very fast.
Yeah, this rotation.
बॉल के ऊपर कुछ भी रखो, एक दिन भी नहीं रुकेगा घुमाएगा.
Yeah,
But we are not.
yeah. So there's gravity due to the law of gravity is keeping us stuck, right? Anyway, let's read. We're finding it very exciting, right? Interesting. At least I am finding it. All right. So all those mountains are there, north, east, south, etc. Now, in the middle of the summit of Meru is the township of Lord Brahma. Each of its 4 sides is calculated to extend for 10 million yojanas. It is made entirely of gold, and therefore learned scholars and sages call it Shatakumbhi. Shatakumbhi. All right? Shatakumbhim. Shatakumbhim. Right.
Satu Kombi.
No, it's written here Shata, right? Shatakumbhim, all right? Which means made entirely of gold. Then, text 29. Surrounding Brahmapuri in all directions are the residences of the 8 principal governors of the planetary systems, beginning with King Indra. These abodes are similar to Brahmapuri but are 1/4 of the size. So then now, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirmed that the townships of Lord Brahma and the 8 subordinate governors of the planetary systems, beginning with Indra, are mentioned in other Puranas. Brahma's township is known as Manovati, and those of his assistants, such as Indra and Agni, are known as Amaravati, Tejovati, Shamyamani, Krishnangana, Shradhavati, Gandhavati, Mahodaya, and Yashovati. Brahmapuri is situated in the middle, and the other 8 puris surround it in all directions. So on top, right? On top of Meru, that's right at top. And this is meaning that comes, this is touching. We remember that Mount Meru is touching the pericarp of what? Mount Meru is touching the pericarp of what? Of Bhulok. All right? All right? And on top of that Mount Meru, Brahmapuri is there. And all those demigods.
Okay, one more question.
Don't ask me too many questions.
So, when Bali Maharaj conquered,
Yeah.
before that he said that he's coming, Indra had to leave and they had to hide.
Yeah.
When they have two places there and this, then why they have to hide?
Sorry?
They have
Oh, no. Well, he went to Swargalok. All right? So meaning they have,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah, so he conquered Swargalok. He didn't conquer the entire universe, right? He conquered only up till Indralok. So he's conquered this. So he had to move out.
But he has other
He has his work here. He's not appointed elsewhere. All right. So that's why now Lord Brahma had to put him back. So they go to Vishnu. Right? This is one universe. So his main office is in Swargalok. Indralok, right? It's in Swargalok. So he may have something here, but his main office would be in Indralok. When that has got conquered, right? Meaning he's out of post. However many office you may have.
No, but it is said that they hide in some places.
Yeah. I don't know which place they hide. Right? I don't know where they hide. But the point is that now Hiranyakashipu or Bali Maharaj is sitting on the throne of Indra. He has captured his post. This happens everywhere, right? Everywhere. Happens everywhere. I mean, I read Mahabharata. After they have conquered, the Pandavas have conquered the Kauravas, what did they do? What did they do? They went and sat in Hastinapur. The Pandavas. They have their own kingdom, Indraprasth, right? They went and sat in Hastinapur. The Pandavas. They've conquered. They have conquered Hastinapur.
Because of the Rashtriya.
No. After the battle of Kurukshetra. After the battle of Kurukshetra, when they have defeated the Kauravas, that's not the point. They have conquered Hastinapur. So each Pandava went. This one took Duryodhan palace. This one took Dushashan's palace. This one took I don't know which palace. Everybody's palace. And this is how they established their supremacy. It's horrible, all this Kshatriya business. Very horrible. You should not have anything to do with it. I don't know who gave class yesterday or I don't know if some Maharaj maybe, I don't know. Oh yeah, maybe one Maharaj gave class. He said that in Vaikuntha there's no Kshatriya. Very good, right? Because everybody is obedient, everybody is serving Krishna. You don't need Kshatriya. Here on this earth, how much you have to fight? Right? There you can be very aram se, everybody cooperate, we agree with each other, right? We may have little tussle about which flower to offer, how to do it, right? But finally, we want the best for Krishna, right? Everybody's cooperating. But here in this material world, oh my God, you can't put two people together, isn't it? So that's what happens. Why you find it so funny?
You said
No, it's a fact, okay. Unfortunately. So in this material world, from top to bottom, you need Kshatriya. Right? The whole Surya dynasty is Kshatriya. Moon dynasty, they're all Kshatriya. Right? In this material world, if you don't have, see, like what happened to India. The Kshatriya race died out, right? Immediately they conquered. So your dharma is gone. So that's why you need Kshatriyas, unfortunately. All right, some mystery are getting solved. And some mysteries will always remain mystery, right? So we don't know where Indra went to hide. But maybe we'll find out. Okay, now we are reading about Ganga. Shukdev Goswami said, "My dear King, Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, appeared as Vaman Dev in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj. Then he extended his left foot. Oh, so what did I do? I went and I wanted to see the picture. All right, Trikon, right, Trivikram. Yeah. I was never interested because I always saw the picture, Dashavatar. You know how very nicely, by elegantly, Vaman Dev became Trivikram and then, right, pierced the universe. But when I read this, I wanted to see the Murti. So I forgot the name now. In some places, Chaitanya Charitamrita, I read. Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to some place and he visited this Trivikram. I forgot the name. In South India. And this, Smita, she's not coming, but she went to the temple. So she told me, huge deity of Trivikram, and the foot goes up. Can you imagine a deity like this? A deity, instead of standing on 2 feet or sitting lotus, he's got 1 foot. Right? This is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah, Shukdev Goswami said, "My dear King, Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of all sacrifices." So he's Yagyeshwar. Appeared as Vaman Dev in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj. Then he extended his left foot to the end of the universe. See, usually we say left foot is not always causing some problem, right? Like we are imbalanced. The body is not. Is it your doctor, right? Everything is not symmetrical, is it? One side is weaker. Is it? I don't know how Jarasan, how he got connected, right? So one side, usually, I guess maybe left side is weaker. I don't know. Generally.
One side is more powerful. Even right also. Mostly we are righty. Left side is a little weaker than
Yeah, so meaning, like even Krishna, he lifted with a, why left everything?
because the weakest.
Yeah, meaning that you are just insignificant, right? For him, it's just a toy, right? He just lifted his foot nicely and he went up. It went up and up. Then he extended his left foot to the end of the universe and pierced a hole in its covering with the nail of his big toe. All right, he didn't even touch with his full toe. Only only big toe, not small toe. All right. Through the hole, the pure water of the causal ocean entered this universe as the Ganga river. All right. So this Ganga is actually the water from the Karanadaksh, right? It is coming from there and it washes the lotus feet of Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu's lotus feet is Patit Pavan, right? So therefore, Ganga Devi purifies us. Having washed the lotus feet of the Lord, which are covered with reddish powder, the water of the Ganges acquired a very beautiful pink color. Every living being can immediately purify his mind of material contamination by touching the transcendental water of the Ganges. Yet its water remains ever pure. This is bewildering, right, to the scientists. How is it that this water, which, corpses are floating, such garbage are floating, but it remains pure, right? Mhm.
But if you want to see real Ganga, you should go to Rishikesh. So pure.
Well, Ganga is Ganga everywhere, but covered.
Like here, okay, we have some pollution, and there you can go. It's really what is written there. You can see pink color.
Yeah. So, because the Ganges directly touches the lotus feet of the Lord before descending within this universe, she is known as Vishnupadi. Later, she received other names like Jahnavi and Bhagirathi. I love this name, Bhagirathi.
We have that story also, no? Bhagirathi.
Yes. After 1000 millenniums, the water of the Ganges descended on Dhruvalok. So after meaning it traveled, all right, from the covering of the universe, it traveled for 1000 millenniums. Then it came to Dhruvalok. So now, see, this is the universe, all right. So this Dhruvalok is a planet within the universe. So the distance, so topmost planet in this universe, meaning the distance from the covering to Dhruvalok is 1000 millenniums. Therefore, all learned sages and scholars proclaim Dhruvalok to be Vishnupad, situated on Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. I had posted Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj classes on all the rivers. So he covers all this. So Prabhupada speaks about Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Kaveri, Krishna, Narmada. All right, so we have a text 2 now. Okay, now let's read together. Yatra hava viravrata otana padi parama bhagavato smankula devata charanara bindo dakamiti yam anusavanam utskrishyanamanam Bhagavat Bhakti Vyogena Dridam Klidyamanantar Hridaya Otkantya Vivasa Milita Lochana Yugala Kudmala Vigalita Mala Bhaspa Kalaya Bhivya Jamuna Roma Pulaka Pulako Dhunati Paramadarena Shirasa Bibharti. Dhruva Maharaj, the famous son of Maharaj Uttanapad, is known as the most exalted devotee of the Supreme Lord because of his firm determination in executing devotional service. Knowing that the sacred Ganges water washes the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, Dhruva Maharaj, situated on his own planet, to this very day accepts that water on his head with great devotion. Because he constantly thinks of Krishna very devoutly, within the core of his heart, he is overcome with ecstatic anxiety. Tears flow from his half-open eyes and eruptions appear on his entire body. So remember, we read from Bhagavad Gita, no? That those who are pious, even though they may not be very advanced, right? But if they have faith in Bhagavad Gita and they read Bhagavad Gita regularly, right? They go to Dhruvalok. Why? 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 Why they go to Dhruvalok? Yes, because Dhruva Maharaj is Narottama, right? Is Narottama, the best of all human beings. All right? He's the example of someone who became the best of human beings. So therefore, even if we are not like perfect, but we have faith in Bhagavad Gita, and we listen and listen, we take birth on Dhruvalok. Right? Remember? I think maybe chapter 18. When Krishna gives that benediction, right?
67
He gave that benediction. So what happens there? There is more opportunity for devotional service and Dhruvalok. Right? Why should they come down in other loka? Right? So when they go there, they get this opportunity. They become firm in their determination to execute devotional service. And they take bath in Ganga. Right? Knowing that the sacred river's water washes the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, Dhruva Maharaj, situated on his own planet to this very day, accept that water on his head with great devotion. You know how fortunate are those who take birth, right, on the banks of Ganga. How fortunate are they, right? Meaning this is where daily you're taking your bath, right? How fortunate. And how unfortunate when they leave that place, right? In search of wealth. How unfortunate. So, meaning by great pious activity, somebody takes birth in the Holy Land, right? And great pious is going to come, right? And then you just drop it. We become most unfortunate. So that's why it's like that free will, right? That free will. How a pious person gets lured into materialism, right? When a person, so purport, when a person is firmly fixed in devotional service to the Supreme Person Godhead, he is described as Vira Vratta, fully determined. Such a devotee increases his ecstasy in devotional service more and more. Thus, as soon as he remembers Lord Vishnu, his eyes fill with tears. This is a symptom of a Mahabhagavat. Dhruva Maharaj maintained himself in that devotional ecstasy. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave us a practical example of transcendental ecstasy when he lived at Jagannath Puri. His pasam here they are fully narrated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Are you not all excited to see Rath Yatra? Right? All of us are clicking on the YouTube button, right? Which Vesh is it today? Arey, you don't know? Yeah. Right? You know, just see that this Rath Yatra, there can be nothing more dynamic than this. Usually the deities are worshipped in the temple, and you don't know what's going on. But with Jagannath, he drops his Lakshmi Devi behind. He took his sister and brother. He said, I'm coming back in one day. All right? In one day, I'm coming now. He went to Gundicha. Right? It's his master's house. But actually, this is the gopis are waiting there. Right? So, as soon as he comes out from his Lakshmi Devi palace, immediately they remove all his crown. Right? Now you leave this behind for Lakshmi Devi. Where you're going? Put on your flower crown. Right? That's big. It's amazing, right? They make that flower. I heard all this on YouTube, Rath Yatra, describing, all right? So he's going, and now this year what happened? He went only a few steps and then he didn't move. Muhurt was over. He just stood few steps only from his palace. So next day again there was Rath Yatra. All right? 2 days. Oh my God. I know more than you. First I heard it in class, in Bhagavatam class. Then I said, oh, 2 days Rath Yatra? Because I was seeing on YouTube day 1, day 2. I see day 1, day. I couldn't figure out what was that. Then this devotee is saying 2 days Rath Yatra, so first day impossible, second day he got the chance, right? Anyway, he went there and he's sitting there nicely in Gundicha temple, right? So Lakshmi Devi is waiting 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then Hera Panchami, right? So did you see what happened? Now Lakshmi Devi is coming on Palki, and all dhum, right? All the pujaris are carrying Lakshmi Devi coming from the palace. And what will he do? He come to Nandi Ghosh and gives a big beating. Right? So the servants of Lakshmi say, where's your master? All right, where's your master? Where is he? What is he doing? Right? He said, let him come back. So what did they beat it up, the servants of Jagannath, and broke his cart.
Is the story of the Nandi
You're right.
also.
Yeah, that's what the Nandi Ghosh, damage his wrath. All right. Then with a great flourish, he again went back. This whole enactment, all right, this is what Prabhupada is saying here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave us a practical example of transcendental ecstasy. When he lived at Jagannath Puri, his pastimes there are fully narrated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? Now, Jagannath is going back to his Nilachal, right? He's going now back to his own abode. He can't wear flowers, right?
Again back into the Sonam.
He cannot, otherwise what will happen, right? Lakshmi Devi is all in Sona, right? So he had to put on the Sona vesh. And when he went there, what happened? Not allowed in. Lakshmi Devi said, who's come? Why? Huh? Oh, he has to stay outside. Okay. One whole night. Oh my God. So now you have to go and Manao. Lakshmi, Gulab Jamun, everybody. Yeah. So all the pandas, they are opening the doors. They are enacting all this drama. All right. Where will you find this story? Right? Where will you find this? Only Rath Yatra. It's 15 days. Right?
As they serve in the temple, the outside those who serve, they are available.
Yeah. I'm not understanding a single word of Oriya, but I'm catching one word here. And because we've read Chaitanya Charitamrita, so we know the story, and all the devotees are always telling the stories, right? So I heard, so now I could follow, right? All right, we are getting ecstatic here. Text 3. Tata sapta rishayastat-prabhavaभिज्ञायं nanu tapasa atyantikih siddhir etavati bhagavati sarvatmani vasudeve nuruparta bhakti yoga labhe nahevopekshitanyarthatma gatayo muktim ivagatam mumukshava iva Sabahu manam adyapi jata jute udvahanti. The 7 great sages, all right, Marichi, Vashishta, Atri and so on, reside on planets beneath Dhruvalok. You know, why don't you all draw the picture? All right, draw the picture. So we see here is Dhruvalok, and beneath are the Shapta Rishis. When all of you got married, these are the sages, right? You should know where they are, right? Right? So, well aware of the influence of the water of the Ganges, to this day they keep Ganges water on the tufts of hair, meaning the shikha on their heads. They have concluded that this is the ultimate wealth, the perfection of all austerities, and the best means of prosecuting transcendental life. So that's why I was saying taking bath in the Ganges, right? Why live? I couldn't believe it when I came to Bombay. I started hearing, oh, I'm from Mathura, oh, I'm from Haridwar, oh, I'm from Prayag. I couldn't believe it. I said, we are crying, you know. Why am I sitting in Bombay? Why am I sitting in Bombay? Why did I not go? For preaching's sake, right? And all of you are coming here, right? We came here only to preach, no other reason, right? We were crying to go to all these places. So, taking bath there, and you come this slum, I call it Bombay slum. Horrible. They have concluded that this is the ultimate wealth, the perfection of all austerities, and the best means of prosecuting transcendental life. See, anyway, this is just my own thinking. Because we desert the holy places, right? So impious people, they stay there, isn't it? When pious people, they leave the holy places. So more and more materialistic people, because just like now, speaking of all the holy places, they advertise everywhere, right? Huge commercial. Like I saw Vrindavan, one commercial, I couldn't believe it. How they advertise, they say this is a sure investment. Rates will never go down because of Krishna. Alright, Krishna came for the devotees. Who is taking advantage? Materialistic people, right? So that's why the places become harsh. The more impious people take over, the more these places become harsh, because they want to push off those who are not eligible, right? So excessive heat, excessive cold. Anyway, having obtained uninterrupted devotional service to the Supreme Person Godhead, they neglect all other beneficial processes like, what is it? Dharma, arth, kam, moksha. Yeah, just as Jnanis think that merging into the existence of the Lord is the highest truth, These 7 exalted personalities accept devotional service as the perfection of life. Now let's read. Transcendentalists are divided into 2 primary groups: Nirvisheshavadis or impersonalists, and the Bhaktas, the devotees. The impersonalists do not accept spiritual varieties of life. They want to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord in his Brahman feature, the Brahmajyoti. The devotees, however, desire to take part in the transcendental activities of the Lord, Supreme Lord. In the upper planetary system, the topmost planet in Dhruvalok, and beneath Dhruvalok are the 7 planets occupied by the great sages, beginning with Marichi, Vasishtha, and Atri. All these sages regard devotional service as the highest perfection of life. Therefore, they all carry the holy water of the Ganges on their heads. This verse proves that for one who has achieved the platform of pure devotional service, nothing else is important, even so-called liberation, Kaivalya. Srila Sridhar Swami stated that only by achieving pure devotional service of the Lord can one give up all other engagements as insignificant. Prabodhananda Saraswati confirms his statement as follows. Kaivalyam narakaye tridasha pur akasha pushpayate Durdantendriya kalasar papatali rukkhatah damstrayate Vishwam puhnam sukhayate vidhi mahendra discha kitayate Yatkarunya kataksha vaibhavanantam tam gauram eva stumaha. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has perfectly Is it proper? Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has perfectly enunciated and broadcast the process of Bhakti Yoga. Consequently, for one who has taken shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest perfection of the Mayavadis, Kaivalya, or becoming one with the Supreme, is considered hellish, to say nothing of the Karmi's aspiration to be promoted to the heavenly planets. Devotees consider such goals to be worthless phantasmagoria. There are also yogis who try to control their senses, but they can never succeed without coming to the stage of devotional service. So this is an explanation of the verse. The senses are compared to poisonous snakes, but the senses of a bhakta engaged in the service of the Lord are like snakes, with their poisonous fangs removed. So meaning that the senses are very troublesome. But when we engage in devotional service, then even though we engage the senses in so many types of work, they don't trouble us. Alright? They don't trouble us. Like the eyes, the ears, the nose, the whole body. The yogi tries to suppress his senses, but even great mystics like Vishwamitra fail in the attempt. Vishwamitra was conquered by his senses when he was captivated by Menaka during his meditation. She later gave birth to Shakuntala. The wisest persons in the world, therefore, are the bhakti yogis, or as Lord Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana sharavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Text 4. ततोऽनेकसहस्रकोटिविमानकसङ्कुला देवयानेन वर्तर अन्तिन्दुमुन्दलम् आवार्य ब्रह्मसदन निपतति. After purifying, so this is the descent of Mother Ganga. After purifying the 7 planets, which planets are they? Saptarishi, yeah. The 7 planets near Dhruvalok. So all our Gotra is coming from those Saptarishi. Everybody is connected to some Rishi. Whether we know it or not, everybody originally is Brahman. Right? And then gradually we became so many things. So, yeah, so after purifying the 7 planets near Dhruvalok, the pole star, the Ganges water is carried through the spaceways of the demigods in billions of celestial airplanes. Then it inundates the moon, Chandralok, and finally reaches Lord Brahma's abode atop Mount Sumeru. You get the idea now? All right? So Brahmalok is already above Dhruvalok, right? But, no, it's not above Dhruvalok because Dhruvalok is above Brahmalok, all right? So now, Satyalok and Dhruvalok is special, right? Remember the little boy wanted a kingdom greater than Brahmalok. So then Vishnu gave him a Vaikuntha planet. See, don't try to imagine it in 3 dimension. You can't figure out where it is. All right?
So basically, Dhruvalok is above. It's above Brahmalok. It's close to Vaikuntha.
Yes. All right. So now we are reading that from Dhruvalok, it came to Chandralok, and then from Chandralok, it is coming down to Lord Brahma's abode, which is on Mount Meru. We should always remember that the Ganges river comes from the causal ocean beyond the covering of the universe. After the water of the causal ocean leaks through the hole created by Lord Vamandev, it flows down to Dhruvalok, the pole star, and then to the 7 planets beneath Dhruvalok. Then it is carried to the moon by innumerable celestial airplanes, and then it falls to the top of Mount Meru, which is known as Sumeru Parvat. In this way, the water of the Ganges finally reaches the lower planets and the peaks of the Himalayas, and from there it flows through Haridwar and throughout the plains of India, purifying the entire land. How the Ganges water reaches the various planets from the top of the universe is explained here. Celestial airplanes carry the water from the planets of the sages to other planets. You also carry Ganga water through the airplane, right? Don't you do that? Don't you do that? All right, 1 bottle you can carry, no?
The small one.
No, 1 full bottle.
Perfume वाला.
No.
हाँ, check-in में जाता है, hand में नहीं जाता है.
So-called advanced scientists of the modern age are trying to go to the higher planets, but at the same time they're experiencing a power shortage on Earth. If they were actually capable scientists, they could personally go to airplane to other planets, but this they are unable to do. Having now given up their moon excursion, they are attempting to go to other planets, but without success. So even if they manage to deposit 1 satellite or whatever you call it there, then the poor satellite has to die there. It cannot come back.
But Mataji, this time when I went to Houston, I visited NASA.
Oh.
And I'm like going all into depth really to figure out. But they did go somewhere. Up to now, they say it is moon, but God alone knows accept the fact. But the kind of things that they have collected there, and the photographs, and also the diorama that they have created as to the kind of feelings the astronauts have gone through and all that.
So Prabhupada say they must have gone to Rahu.
They must have gone
To Rahu. Yeah. Prabhupada say they must have gone to Rahu, which is an invisible planet.
And the way the days are mentioned, that first sun comes, Sunday, then Monday, then moon comes. The first sun comes, then moon.
Yeah, yeah. We'll come here. Hmm? So now, so this is how. So meaning on the moon also, Ganga is there throughout the universe. Everywhere. So we are so lucky. We are so lucky. All right. Now Saraswati has disappeared. Right? Because as I said, impious people are living. So they disappear. So now this Ganga, you go to Gangotri, but from where is the water coming? Do you know where? From where? From? Yeah, now we go to Gangotri, right? But even Gangotri, is it the actual source? No. From where is it coming? From? Arey, you just read now.
Dhruvalok, Saptarishi,
Where? You just read.
Sumeru Parvat.
Moon. Yeah. The station before Jambudvip, all right, and the Himalayas is the moon. That's why you cannot find Mount Kailash either. All right.
But moon, it doesn't come. It goes to moon through the celestial planes.
Yeah. Then from moon,
Then it is carried by invisible celestial planes.
yeah.
And then it falls onto the mountain.
Yeah, so it comes to from the moon, then it's coming to this Brahmagiri, what's that?
Sumeru Parvata.
Yeah.
On the top of Sumeru
Yeah,
Parvata.
yeah. So on earth, this Jambudvip, the water of Ganga that's coming on Jambudvip is actually coming from the moon, right? Read it again. So then it is carried to the moon by innumerable celestial airplanes, and then it falls to the top of Mount Sumeru, which is known as Sumeru Parvat. And this is where Lord Brahma's abode is there, right? You just read? Then it inundates the moon Chandralok and finally reaches Lord Brahma's abode atop Mount Sumeru. Brahma said the name. Nipatati. So it falls there. And then from there, from the top of Mount Sumeru, it is cascading into the lower planets and to Himalayas. And then it's coming down south to Bharatvarsh. You're following this? Now you know the geography? All right. Tell me. Descent of Ganga. Revision. No, first. From Causal Ocean. Yeah. How much time it took? 1,000 millennium. Then it reached where? Dhruvalok. Then from Dhruvalok, Saptarishi. From Saptarishi to moon. From moon to Mount Meru. From Mount Meru to Himalayas. Now you know the source of Gangotri, right? All right? So nobody has actually said, but no, it cannot be that it's coming from, where is it? Everybody, from where? It's mysterious. They're not saying the beginning. All right, therefore Ganga is not ordinary. It's not ordinary at all. All right, our time is up. Very exciting. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah.